Today we are going to add some buttons to our website. Now before we get started, we're going to want to make a new layer. This new layer we will call, appropriately enough, buttons. This will allow us to position our buttons in a place that will keep them nice and organized for us. And I'm going to put mine underneath the header just to kind of keep a logical sense of progression going here. Now with my button folder highlighted, I am going to go to Edit, Insert, and grab a new button. Now this requires some math. We're going to do, for our example, a 1000 pixel website, and we're going to have 5 buttons. So we're going to need each button to be 200 pixels. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to drag out a rectangle. I'm not too worried about its specs right now because we can change that right down here. So I'm going to change my width to the 200 that we wanted, and I'll just go with 40 pixels for height. That'll give us a long, thin button. And with my mouse arrow selected, I'm going to drag it over here and just line it up along the center. And you can also do that using these. You'll see here that it's 100 pixels off the side of the crosshairs and 20 pixels off the top of the crosshairs. And that allows you to position your button in a way that is central. And now, just to make it match up, I'm going to fill in something like that, and I'll add a little text. And 40 is going to be too big. Let's look at maybe 25. And I'll go with button 1. Not very original. And then you just want to make sure that you center that in there. Use arrow keys if you have to. And make sure too that your text is centered right along here. And that gives us what our button will look like on the page just sitting alone. Now we also are going to want to make an overstate for this. To do this, just click down here under State and go to Over. Now we didn't lose what we just made. It's just temporarily missing. So what we'll do instead is bring it over here. We can still see, if we click back up, there it is, over, still not there. Now to make sure that nothing shifts or moves around or does anything crazy when we mouse over it, we're going to click on Copy Up Graphic. And that gives us our button exactly as it looks on the up state. You can do a comparison if you want. Up, over, up, over. So it looks exactly the same. Now in the over state, we're clear to begin to play around with this some more. So I'm going to change that color, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a glow on here. Maybe something green. Not the prettiest button ever, but it will do the trick for what we need it to do. Now, when you go back to your page, you'll notice that you now have a button symbol on here. And I'm going to drag these in a little bit to make sure that they match my button symbol. And then you can just drag that up and position your button where you want it. Use arrow keys to kind of get the fit right. And now, we want more than one button. We don't have to make multiple buttons. We can actually just go to our window and open up our document library, also done by F11 if you choose, and we can actually just start dragging these out here. 3, 4, 5. Good. Put that away. And now we just use these and line them right up with where we want our buttons to go. Now, if you've lined them up right, you'll see those red lines that we're dropping down should move all the way to the sides. So you want them to come down the sides of your website. You don't want one of them just kind of, here, if I do that, you don't want this. That's going to make it choppy when it slices up. So you want to make sure that your red lines are gone across the bottom. Now we can select our second button, and if we want to change the text, you'll see down here in the Properties Inspector, we can just do button 2. Over here, button 3, over here, button 4, and over here, button 5. And now we've changed all of our buttons. Now if we wanted to change something that happens, here, get rid of the web layer for you so you can see more easily. Say we wanted to change what happens on the mouseover. That's no problem. Just bring up your library again. This time I just used F11. Double click on here, and you're right back to the button editor. So let's say I want to make this text, instead of yellow, I'm going to make it an angry red. when I click back to page 1, you'll see now all of those have changed. Now that doesn't affect the overstate, so if we publish this out, you'll see that our buttons are red text here, but then still have the same overstate. So if you want to change the overstate, you have to do that separately. And there you go. Now we have functioning mouse over buttons. Next time we're going to start slicing this up, and we'll export it over to Dreamweaver. Have a great day.